This is Michael LaPreziosa from Shuto Karate Club of Sellersville. This video is about two different topics, but they're related, and they relate to the use of your hands in karate, and especially kata practice. And the two topics are husband and wife hands and what I call wandering hands. First, husband and wife hands. That is a term that is apparently used by some of the Okinawan masters from long ago, in 19th century and early 20th century, and to describe one aspect of their art, their martial art. And it may have come from the Chinese, the concept of husband and wife hands. We're not sure. There's not a lot of information on it, but basically what it means is when you're doing your martial art, your karate, or in our case, that the two hands are always working. They're always working together, like a husband and wife, hopefully, are working together for the same goal. So your two hands are always doing something. Both hands are always doing something. So when one hand is doing the technique, the other hand has a role, it has a job. And so always have both hands working together. So the way I like to teach this to be at the very beginning is when we're learning our basic turns, like the turns in Heian Shodan, you start to the left in Heian Shodan. This one's going to come up and it's going to do the technique, right? It's called the gate. It's the Geiran Bara. This one, it doesn't just come up here so that it can pull back. It's not only the pulling back. The pulling back is probably pulling someone in, but this also is the beginning of it. It's also a technique. You can teach it as a punch or a reach, but have it do something. So if I were to break it down, it would be, again, notice how the hikite, the pulling hand, actually has a roll at the beginning of the technique, like this. Same thing for punching, we're always using two hands, of course. One hand's pulling back, and it's chambering for the next technique, the next punch. So the 180-degree turn, I tell them the same thing. Come and stick this one in the direction of the bad guy. The bad guy's over here, so stick that there and drop. So again, that looks like this at almost full speed. Then when we do the hammer fist, this was taught to me like this, that you just do this. I want this hand to come out to be doing something. And then the punch, and then the 90-degree block, and then the big turn. This is coming out again. Same with the knife hand blocks. As you're doing a knife hand, this one comes out. You're doing the turns in Heian Shodan. You're this way, you're going to the 45. Point this one in the direction you're going, drop. Next you're going this way. Point this one there. So the point is to always have two hands working. Both hands have a job, and one hand knows what the other hand's doing, and your mind knows what both of them are doing. And what the job is something that we talk about, something that I ask the students to think about. What might that other hand be doing? It should not just be lingering around waiting to pull something in. It should have a role throughout the technique. So for instance, when sometimes we're doing combination drills, for instance, a rising block reverse punch. This is just basic Kihon. I tell them to put this hand out as this one's coming back to do the rising block and have a job for this hand. And I ask them to imagine while they're doing these simple line drill techniques, what's that other hand doing? And sometimes I'll stop and I'll ask somebody, what's your other hand doing? And they have to give me an answer. It could be any of a number of things. It could be they're pushing someone away. It could be they're reaching and grabbing to pull in. It could be they're putting a hand in the face to block the vision. It could be they're striking in the face or striking in the chest. But I just want them to have something in mind while they're doing the techniques. Imagine that you're actually in a physical confrontation. Same thing when you're doing your kata. You should always be thinking that I'm in a fight, even if kata is very great, very doesn't look like a fight, but still you should think of it as you have bad guys that you're fighting off, and that other hand has a job. So it's a mental thing to think of what it is, and it's a physical thing to practice that way, not just sticking an arm out here so that you could later pull it back in. But it's a difference between this. I'll go to the left. There's a difference between this and this. So have a definite role for it. Okay, that's enough of that. The other concept is what I call wandering hands, and this is just sometimes what I observe in kata, people performing kata. Their hands finish the job that they have to do, and then they start to wander. This is from hand yondan. The hands do this, right, pulling someone in, and then while doing the kick, these hands are doing something else. No, these hands had a job, pull somebody in. They should stay there, don't wander away. Stay there and wait till their next job, which in Heian Yondan is punch, punch. Coming over here, they pull in, stay there, don't go wandering. And another case where I see this often is Basai Dai. You have that's it. This. Okay, these hands had their job. The next thing that they're going to do is they're going to pull up here. In between that, they shouldn't go anywhere else. They should stay right here and then pull in. And then, incidentally, after they pull in, this hand comes out here to do the shitoge. So that's wandering hands. It's knowing what your hands are doing, controlling what your hands are doing, giving them a job, and making sure they stay on the job until they have the next job to do. That's the end of this lesson. I hope it was helpful.